Hey, I told Matt, I was thinking when he was saying that, we don't ever get the right intro. Like, I want some smoke. You know how the team come out NBA Finals or whatever? Get some smoke for the intro, man. All right. First off, my name is Untitled Kazadi, aka it's a short Kaz. So they took the last name, cut the Untitled out, and it just goes Kaz Kazadi. That's where they get that from. I was born in Zaire, Africa. So was in Africa for about 10 years. Bilingual and all that stuff. Came to the United States, had to learn English from scratch. So you get to see different cultures, great habits, bad habits, and kind of pick your way of what you want to do. Got drafted by Coach Vermeil out of University of Tulsa. Played for Coach Vermeil for 2 years. Hall of Fame coach, great guy. And then after that was kind of jumped around the league to make sure I got that 401k pension. Anyway, got that. You don't want to hustle backwards. Got that, then after that I floated. So got back into the strength conditioning field. I didn't really know what I wanted to do out of school. So well, what do you want to do? Well, let me try the suit and tie business. So I wore a suit and tie for 364 days with Sprint in the criminal division. Like who's stealing cell phones and using cell phones for dealing drugs and all that stuff. So I did that for 364. Then on 365, I called my old strength coach, said, all right, man, let's get this thing rolling. So he was like, I've been waiting for you. I hopped over and I was gone. So that was that. Now, I'm going to tell you just a little bit. I've made a ton of mistakes in this profession. Every day, I make a mistake every single day. I do. I get up and I'm sitting there. We got the program. We got everything we want to do down. We've talked to the staff. We've laid it out for weeks. We've laid it out for months. Something goes wrong. Something goes wrong. Now, because we've talked about it so much prior to that, we can make the midstream adjustment. And that's what we tell the guys. Be ready to make the adjustment. Don't sit there and try to make that guy fit the mistake that you're making. You see the mistake and you won't change, you got a freaking problem. All right? So that's one thing we do. I know I'm going to make a mistake. Now, I'm not going out there saying, make this mistake. I'm lining up like an ex-athlete knowing, okay, the game never goes perfect. If you got 80 snaps, something will happen, 1 or 2 of those snaps. You might miss a line, something might happen. So I come in the room thinking, okay, I might miss a line today, once or twice, but after I see the mistake, I make the adjustment. All right, make adjustments, make adjustments. Now, before I get into let me start flicking this. I hate doing this because I'm forced to stick to the script, and then I can't freestyle. Okay, let me get to the outline real quick. Before we go to objectives, I'm going to talk about really my philosophy first. Now I'm just going to kind of pick and choose what I want here. Philosophy. I think it's imperative to find out what motivates your athletes. Each guy's different. Each gal is different. What motivates them? You can't assume because you typed up or charted up a great program in Excel and you've done a whole ton of research that they're going to want to hop in there and have this great session. That's not going to happen. You need to find out what motivates them. Are they, classic? Is it intrinsic? Is it extrinsic motivation? Is it money? Is it pain? What is it? Is it the challenge? Do they wake up like that? That stuff is important. What motivates you? What gets you clicking? What made you get up and say, you know what? I want to go to this clinic on Saturday morning at 9:15. Really? You got to take a look at yourself. Was it because you're thinking it's going to help me in my career? Or I got something I want to learn? I got something I want to see? Nobody forced you to come here. So that's the approach you got to take with your athlete when you're cutting up the template. Okay, this guy's different here. He wants to bench 500 pounds. Okay, so I might talk to him a little different. This guy doesn't care about bench, man. He's a speed guy. He's a speed whore. He doesn't want to hear about bench, weight room. So when you talk to him about it, it's not going to sell. So your template to this guy is garbage. He doesn't care what you say. Pull out all the chains and bands you want. He ain't going. All right, now, the level above that is confidence. So after motivation, after I set the motivation and I find out what motivates each and every guy, we got 105 guys, 115 guys, I got to find out each and every guy. You got walk-ons, I know what motivating you. You walked on, you want to ship, you think you can play, you deserve better, da-da-da. That's how I'm going to talk to you. Okay, After that, confidence. Confidence. If you, the shortest explanation of confidence, walk into a test and know dang good and well you didn't study. That feeling that you got is the lack of confidence. That's what that is. So, as coaches, put your temper together, do everything for your athlete. If they don't have the feeling that after I did all of this, I'm locked and loaded. I don't care who I line up against. I've been trained to a very high level. I am prepared. Then you are doing there's a problem. Because they're lacking confidence. The test is Saturday, the test is Friday night, the test is Sunday for some of the coaches. They need to have that confidence when they line up to get tested. All right? After confidence, intensity. Okay, I'm not talking rah-rah. I'm not talking, there's different types of intensity. I'm talking the intensity, just make sure when you get in there for that 2 hours that you become something else. You can't be yourself right now. If you're a laid-back guy, if you're, I don't talk much and blah, 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 that's great. But right now for this 2 hours, you better transform. You better have some kind of intensity, or once again, the numbers that we've put down, the weights that we expect you to move aren't going to move. They're not. I had an off day. You don't have an off day. You made your mind up to have an off day when you got in here. You can adjust the day. We'll adjust that. And I mean, I do. I take a look at the guy. If the weights aren't moving and I can tell they're not moving, I will adjust based on his level of intensity that day. Okay. After intensity is focus. Focus. Come in the room. I don't care what music I'm playing. I don't care. I'm in Texas. Those guys love that down south. They love it. They love it down south. Hip is rap, because I don't consider it hip hop. We'll get into that something different. All right. So they're playing that down south rap, and I mean, I'm like, whatever, man. This is garbage. You know, I'm a hip hop head. So if I'm playing it and you start bugging out dancing, and then I see you get crumbled on the next set, you lack focus. And I let it happen. They learn from that. Because now when you get in the game, remember, you make a play, hop up, walk back to the huddle, line up, get the call, go again, clear it. One play, clear. One play, clear. Don't get too fired up about each rep or each set. Okay? Now, again, country music gets played in there. I don't care what's playing. You better go ahead and go. I don't care if it's death metal. I don't want to hear it. They're gonna go ahead and train. After focus, emotional stability. Well, coach, what are you talking about emotional stability? We all saw a clip where they put the guy on blast because he couldn't react when the guy hit him and he punched him in the face. Man, look, emotional stability. We're all human beings. We're all human beings. You have got to take your athlete to the point where they dang near want to get at you. And I mean, they're upset. And then when they get upset, if they still do what you say, they're emotionally stable. Now, you got to go back and clear that though. You can't coach the athlete, okay, this is what we got, and then we're going to do this, all right, and then that, okay. That's not going to happen. Because then they get out on the field, somebody pops them, or if they're not playing football, they're hooping or whatever's going on, and says something to them, you got this starstruck athlete sitting there, okay, well, what's going on? All of a sudden, instead of being a stable guy, they start freaking out, or they punch back. You know, so go ahead and test them. Test them. But after you test them, you got to go back and clear it. They got to know you're testing them. More pressure, more diamonds. They got to know you're testing them for a reason. And they got to know that it's calculated. I'm trying to upset you, all right? Then at the very top of the pyramid, and you'll see the pyramid when we get on a slide, and I'll skip through it, but the very top of it will be pain. Well, why? Why is pain on the top of the pyramid? Get up under 565 pounds, get up under 600 pounds, and tell a kid he's got to do it 5 times. There's going to be a level of discomfort. He's going to have to deal with it. Okay, tell a 350 pounder he's got 5 300s. There could be a level of discomfort. There could be a little bit of buildup there. He's going to have to deal with it. All right, you got to let him know. In your sport, you are not going to be 100%. The very first day you line up to play is the only day you'll be 100%. That's it. So this feeling of feeling great every single day is a lie. The day after the very first day, there will be a problem. Adjust to that problem accordingly. The third day, you'll have a couple problems. Now, adjust to them. You might be a little dehydrated. You might be a little tight. Whatever it is, adjust to it. So each and every day, understand that there'll be a problem. It's your job to make sure that you adjust to it. All right, so that's why pain is at the very top of that. Okay, that's my philosophy coaching. Okay, athletic performance. When it comes to what we do, injury prevention, injury reduction is the number one thing. That's what I'm looking for. Injury prevention, injury reduction, number one thing. All right. Athletic performance, number two. The ability to perform game day. Game day. I can't call myself a good coach, but then when it comes to game day, the suckers are struck. They're shook. Well, because you're not putting enough pressure on them. So when it gets to the game, they're shook because you're soft. Okay. Mental development. We're talking about that right now. In summer program, I'll show you a couple things we do in our summer program, and then I'll summarize everything. The reason the summer program is last here is because there's a lot of things that take place before we even get there. Everything I do is bastardized. Everything I do is bastardized. It fits me. I'm telling you right now, I learned what I got to learn. I went to where I went to and looked at what everybody else was doing, and then I raised my own kids. Those are my kids. So everything I do fits them like a freaking shoe. We can both wear size 13, but you lean a little to the left, your shoe ain't gonna fit me right. We both wear size 13, you got a wide foot, I got a narrow foot. It's not gonna fit me right. Okay, so just because we both coach football, don't try to put your foot in my shoe. Okay. I hate remotes. All right. Now, all that said, a picture's worth 1,000 words. I done got up here and blah, blah for a while. I don't know if we're going to have volume on this or not, but I'm going to go ahead and try to make sure we don't got guys falling asleep. I don't know if we'll have volume, so I'll take a little bit of sting out of it, but adjust. Don't freak out. DFO.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Yes, he's got straps on. Don't freak out.
My name is...
Now, we talked about injury prevention. Here's the only
brothers lie to you, Jack.
You got guys gaining 23 pounds of muscle mass, a dense tissue, and then losing adipose tissue or fat tissue. I mean, that improves the chance of you playing for a long time. What's good? What's the point of being big, fast, and strong if you get injured? All right. So we sell it to them that it's a side effect of the program. We sell it to them like, ooh, look at your body. But we know now it's optimizing. All right. Okay. So that's the window dressing. Okay, the objectives of this presentation, just focus more on principles and not so much exercise, all right? The objectives of the presentation focus more on principles and not so much saying, okay, plug this exercise in here and talking about benching versus inclining versus machine. No, it's more principles, all right? Express my background and my philosophy and pass along something that you got to consider, even if it's one thing. It's a little hard to see on here, but take a look at what you got in the handout. Okay, everything I've said, like I said, you don't got to incorporate. It fits me, okay? There's one thing that we tell the whole staff. You got a lot of guys that you hire a staff to go ahead and help make you look good. Okay, I hire my staff for their ideas. You will never get a raise from me if you don't got ideas. You'll never get a raise from me if you're not pushing me and coming to the table with something and saying something every single day. I don't just cut a template and then hand it out to you and this is what we're gonna do. It's a little different. I don't do that though. I hire people on my staff for ideas, and that's how you get on. And that's how you'll continue to get evaluated. Now, I tell them, Jesus had 12 disciples. I mean, he could have did everything himself. He had 12 disciples, and he took their advice. Sometimes he taught them, sometimes he listened. Most of the time he served. So for me, what I do is they got the program, I'm helping them sell it. So it's a little backwards, but it's effective, okay? All right, we're all in support of the athletic program. We are athletic support staff. So it is your job to support your head coach, to find out exactly what makes them click. If he's a softer guy, you got to be hard. If he's a hard guy, you got to be a little bit more understanding. Okay, athletic performance. Okay, most sports, besides like swimming, require that you put some force into the ground. So we make sure to have that in the program well before summer conditioning. There's a phase that we'll go through. A lot of that was in the video. There is a precursor before we got to the summer. Okay, multi-joint exercises, athletic movement requires synchronizing your joints and muscles. Making sure we're in different planes, multi-plane movement. Making sure we don't just do the same thing, horizontal pull all day, horizontal pull all day. We'll make sure that we go vertical. We'll make sure we lock in and pull from a bent over row. We'll change up just to make sure we keep the athlete focused up. Now, one of the things that people overlook, and then when they come see us train, is the warm-up. I put all my money in my warm-up. I put the money in the warm-up. Our warm-up takes about 30, 35 minutes. And that's where we get a lot of money for what's going on right there. We get all our plyos, all our speed work, everything right there in the warm-up. We don't break it off and then say, okay, now we're going to this section or whatever. Because as soon as they come in the door to set the tempo and to say start fast, you got to have a great warm-up. We'll take our time during that whole warm-up. If I'm going to cut something out, I'll cut some of the running. But never adjust the warm-up. And if it's not right, we're doing the thing again. And it's not just to say be on sides and finish through the line. It's the range of motion. It's the way they execute everything that we're asking them to execute. Okay, if they're not keeping their chest up, if they're not sinking their hips, if we're not getting great range of motion that day, the hips look tight, affecting mobility, we'll start the thing over due to that. Okay, and I know you guys know about dynamic warm-up and static and all that stuff and post-stretch and increasing the range of motion. Okay, we talked about injury prevention and what the athletic performance and mental development. Okay, here we go, injury prevention. What's the good of getting strong and fast if you're going to get hurt? Here we go, means of prevention. Teaching the correct technique. Making sure you go through full range of motion. Coaching smart, communicating, coach to athlete, athlete to coach. Then it's coach to coach, then it's athlete to athlete. Okay, so the first couple of weeks when they come in, I coach them, coach to athlete. After I've coached them for a couple of weeks, now they coach me. So now I can see if they know what the heck I was talking about for those first 2 weeks. Now, before you squat, tell me what you got to do. Okay, I got to take in there, I got to get a big chest, sit my hips back, knees go out, push through the balls of my feet, through the back of my heels, and then explode up. Go down into control, and then drive up. Okay, then what? Clear the rep, next rep. And if they tell me that, I'm good. Now I know on that platform, business is being performed on that platform. So after it goes coach to athlete, athlete to coach, then it's coach to coach, making sure we know which athletes are capable of doing that, and then we pair those athletes with other athletes that they can coach. Then it's athlete to athlete. Now you got a team. Now you got guys building each other up. Because believe it or not, you're not going to get one snap. You're not going to play. So you can run the program tight and tell everybody what to do if you want to. If you don't teach them how to lead, you're not going to play. Okay. Okay, I talked about collaborating with the staff and talking. Okay, here we go. Performance enhancement. These are the qualities that we train for football. You should always have some of these qualities, all four of these aspects in your program at some point. And I would hate to say, hey, start here, start there, and then work around. So I got all the arrows pointing in because at some point in the program, all these qualities are touched on and all these qualities are emphasized. In the summer program, we'll say, okay, put speed to the side. Don't worry so much about time in 40s and doing the old-fashioned quote-unquote speed. So we'll add a lot of resistance so we can go ahead and get that force production into the ground and get that extension and get the speed work, but reducing the chance of injury. So that's when you'll see a lot of hills, a lot of sled pulls, a lot of prowler pushes, things that make them put force into the ground, because you're still going to get the speed work, it just reduces the chance of injury. Now, during the winter, I don't care about your hamstrings. I'm going hard for them. Okay, the quantity of each is determined by the player and the team needs, program goals, and the time of year. Just said that. Okay, work capacity. Now, this is different, because work capacity to a cross-country guy is different than work capacity to a power lifter. If you flip the two individuals and then you tell the power lifter, work capacity, go run a mile, or work capacity, go run 20 miles, you're going to see a lack of work capacity. If you put that cross-country guy in your weight room, you're going to see a lack of work capacity. So understand, when I say work capacity, it's bastardized to fit my program. The guy could be cock strong, but he lacks the capacity to replicate and repeatedly do what I'm asking them to do at a high level. So work capacity, GPP, general physical preparation, yeah, that's what I'm talking about right now. Okay, ability to replicate work. Okay, you don't train to get in shape. Listen, you don't train to get in shape. You're in shape first, so then you can train at a high level. If you're training to get in shape, there's a problem. You're in shape first. What's that mean? There's mandatory cardio during this whole Christmas time. There's mandatory cardio during the summer breaks. Okay, you got a couple of months off that you're not going to be around. When you get back, you have a performance evaluation the very first day. Not so I can say, hey, look how poor you are. I need to judge the condition that you're in. So in the summer, because that's what we're talking about, there's a lot of things that take precedence or are precursors before the summer. So in the summer, to judge the ability that you're going to, if you're going to be able to do your work at a high capacity, I got to see what type of shape you're in. Okay, so after I do the evaluation, now I'm going to split my guys up. On field A are the guys that have the ability to replicate work. On field B are the guys that aren't in shape yet to train well. So on field B, we get those guys in shape. On field A, we train these guys now. Okay, possible methods for increasing work capacity. Nutrition education is huge. Nutrition education is it is huge. That's the number one reason your athletes will perform well or not perform at all. Okay, educating them on hydration and teaching them, the number one, when guys come through the door, they have to have a freaking water bottle in my program. If you come through the door and you do not have your water bottle that I give you at the beginning of every session, you're not training that day. I'm sorry, because I don't know what you've been doing at night and I don't know where you came from. Shoot, you guys know if you run a 4.7 and you lose 3% of your body weight, you are not going to go to this. Okay, well, if we're doing something overhead or if we're doing something where I'm asking you to be focused and spot your guy, if you're spotting a 400-pound bencher and you're supposed to, how much of your mental capacity have you lost? Are you focused that day? I don't know. When you come through the door, hydrate. Okay, supplementation, we talked about that. Now, core stabilization, joint stability, all these things help increase work capacity. So we'll do stuff like overhead stuff, overhead scap circuit work, and all this stuff we're just doing at the very beginning with that B group to get them in shape to train. Okay, performance enhancement, the ability to exert force, strength. So after work capacity, we start going ahead and working on strength. Okay, definition is up there, the ability to exert force with no regard for speed. So this is absolute brute strength, no regard for speed. Okay, 3 different ways to do it. Max effort sets, 1 to 3, but you got to build up to it. So 1 to 3, you got relative strength or relative intensity, whatever. Body weight circuit, you got eccentrics, 5-second counts, 3-second counts. You got static, stabilizing and maintaining positions, example, iso hold, lunges, squats, push-ups, planks, whatever. Okay, after we do strength, now we're into power with force development, and we're talking true power. I'm a tendo whore. We got about 14 tendos in the building. And if you've got the money, bug your coach. If you've got the money, bug your coach, because now you got a coach at the rack. It's not you, it's that tendo machine. As soon as your athletes understand what you're going for and why it's so important to them, they coach themselves. Okay, we make sure they're well educated on getting their hips through. Show them these clips. We go ahead and put them on the big screen using a dartfish. So the dartfish program, the kid has a late feed, 45 seconds, he comes over, checks himself out. If he's not getting hip extension, that's not what we want. It's great if you've got a ton of weight on, but if you're not extending your hips, you're not helping us during the power phase. All right, and we already talked about working speed with the sleds, but that also helps power phase. Because when we're outside running, we're doing the same thing with the sled, trying to get that extension and get that foot into the ground and keep our guys from becoming toe runners or toe jumpers. And the reason I say toe runners or toe jumpers is because you're not exerting a lot of force pushing through your toes. Okay, so we're always talking about balls of your feet to the back of your heel on these exercises, these lifts. Okay, another analogy. Now, you take a look at the extension in that last picture. That's why we do the Fast Fridays during the winter conditioning. This is during winter leading up to summer. On the top picture, we'll show our guys the dartfish feed comes in at the summer. They're sitting there watching dartfish feed, and they got the sled attached. If you're getting extension and you got your foot in the ground and your hips are extended, ankle, knees, hip, knee, ankle, then we know that you're putting a little bit of push into the ground. All right? So we show you a picture of a kid right here running through a ball carrier. And we show that to our athletes all the time. That's how we want them to tackle them. That's why we do cleans. A lot of guys do cleans for different reasons, but that's why I do a lot of Olympic lifts, to try to go ahead and teach those guys to extend their hips, knees, and ankles, or ankles, knees, and hips. Okay, we already talked about force, or power, force times velocity. We already talked about that. Okay, this is when we start getting into strength, speed, and speed, strength. Okay, when you're talking about power, all sports have a requirement of power in them. It's hard to say, okay, this sport doesn't have it. I mean, even if you're sitting there talking about table tennis, there's still a requirement of power in that sport. Okay, strength, speed, a high rate of force development with a substantial load. Possible methods of increasing strength, speed. Okay, after strength, speed, we go speed, strength. Now we're talking about 10%, reducing the load to about 10%. So you can go ahead and move it a lot faster than you were moving the heavier loads. And you got to sell this to your guys now because they want the after effect of looking big. So they're going to be a little confused about why they're moving this lightweight so fast and taking a look at the tendo all the time. So you might have to go ahead and put a little window dressing in there at the end so they get their little buff. Okay, then we go ahead and go speed, the ability to move the body and part of the body through a range of motion quickly. Okay, we talk about acceleration, speed, endurance, and sport-specific speed. So sport-specific speed, I'm coaching football, that's what I'm looking for. If you're coaching track or if you're coaching something else, you're looking for a different type of sport-specific speed. The best example of a sport-specific speed in football is a pattern run. Running that pattern at full speed, but then doing it again and again. Okay, I'll show you an example of our template for work capacity. Now, it should be in your program, but it looks like it might be a little hard to read. Okay, like we talked about, you got a 4-day split here in the summer. First day, scap circuit is the first thing that's done. So they got the 5 movements of scap circuit. Everything is signed out. After the scap circuit, if you're confused about scap, let me know and we'll talk about what we're doing for scap to go ahead and combat that anterior tilt and got to get the guys pulled back and tighten the back and tighten the rear and tighten the shoulders. All right. So here we go here. We got barbell bench, and it's a APRE. This is what the APRE does. We'll go first set, 10 reps. This is for a guy that's already out of shape. 10 reps Okay, so he's hit 10. He racks it. That's his warm-up set. The second warm-up set, he hits 6 at whatever prescribed percentage that you want. The third set, I might start him at 75%. 75% for max. So for max, he's got a max set. So 75% until the coach says rack it. Or until max out, I hate to use the word failure, but until failure. And then that's when he's done. So because he's out of shape, I'm not gonna say, okay, you're doing 10s, you're doing 8s, you're doing 6s. No, you got max. So he warms up at 10, 6, then 75%, first set. Okay, after that, depending on if it's APRE 6 or APRE 3, and the APRE means just, it's an automatically prescribed exercise. I'm trying to think of the exact term for APRE, but basically you're letting the athlete go ahead and dictate how many sets and reps they can do, okay? So it's on the athlete. Okay, so after he hits the 10 and goes to 6, he's got another set of max. So after the last set of max is where the next week he'll start that next APRE. So if I'm confusing you, I'm sorry about that, but you're going 10, 6, max, max. So what you're trying to do is if it's APRE 6, you're trying to hit more than 6. If it's APRE 6, he's trying to hit more than 6. If he hits 6, he won, that's fine. You just don't bump him up. But if it's APRE 6 and he hits 12, now you know, okay, I can bump him up 15 pounds. So it's an automatic percentage that he's doing on his own. He's controlling it or she's controlling it. Okay? So if I bump him up 15 pounds or whatever my guide is telling me, that next set, he's going 15 pounds heavier than the first set of max. But it's still max. So you'll be very surprised because that last set of max, he'll still hit a high number. And the reason they do that is because it doesn't say 6 or 8 on there. So then you take that the next week, and that's where they start on their max sets. Is that clear? You know? Okay. All right. Then we got a couple exercises in here. We got dumbbell incline, and we got 10s to try to get the kid in shape again. We're not really concerned about quote-unquote hypertrophy or trying to get him large. We're just trying to get him ready to work, okay? This is the first week template, okay? Then we're going blast trap pulls, and there's 15s in there. Again, work. Okay, shoulder circuits, reverse hypers, and partner tap pull. By now, they're blown up. Just trying to get them in shape so they can train. They're in the B group. They're just getting in shape. Okay, and if you take a look at it, they go APRE clean that next day. Sounds crazy. It's not prescribed, but again, it fits me and what we're doing. Okay, not so concerned about saying, okay, you're doing sets of 3s and da-da-da. You're out of shape. I got to get you in shape so you can go ahead and do the max effort stuff. All right, so shoot, we got guys, it's APRE 3 on hang clean. So the first set of warm-up, they hit 6. The second set of warm-up, they hit the 3. The last 2 sets, they're going 2 sets of max. Now, on the APRE on the clean, I advise you to pay attention to that. Don't get your guy injured. I know my guy, so I'll pull the plug on him early. As soon as he hits that 6, I'm watching him. 7 is good, rack it. And it's just the bars in his hand, he's holding it, he's sweating, he's working his butt off. Okay. Then here we go again, blowing up that back. Got hammer back choice, we got front squats in there. Shoot, you take a look at the front squats, 4 sets of 8. You better come back in shape. Nobody wants to be in the B group. Okay, then we got bent over rows after all that, 3 of 12. Okay, next day, we're going back to power shrugs now with this B group. You take a look at it, you see barbell incline, you see 10s in there, and this is, again, work capacity stuff. Okay. Okay, for that same athlete, after those first 2 weeks, here's week 3 and 4 for that athlete. Now we can get into going ahead and saying he's working 5s of 5s now. All right, we feel comfortable with him now. He's going 5 for 5, and the weight is basically what he got off that APRE. So it's not the max that I said that he had 6 months ago. He's been maxing out with the APRE. Okay, so I take the percentage from the APRE and I plug that in for his 5 of 5. Okay, so his second set of APRE, his second week, his second set of APRE, his second week, that's where we get his max. We're not telling him he's maxing. He just knows he's going to APRE. All right, then he's going 5 of 5. After that, he should be about 2 weeks behind everybody else. Okay, and here you go for power and speed. Same athlete after those 4 weeks. Recovery. So he's on his 5th week. He'll knock the 5th week out. He's caught up to everybody else. He's hitting max effort right now. Then on that 5th week, he's recovered. So he's riding the bike, doing whatever he needs to do to cool off, and then he's still signing in. He's still signing in, doing body weight stuff, and then we'll go ahead and throw him in with the regular group, the A group on the running and all that stuff, because now he's in shape to train. Okay, when he comes back, he's on the tendos now when he comes back. You got 7 sets of 3. You got the tendo speed is set, 0.7 meters per second. And I see a couple college coaches in here. I think they know what I'm talking about, but our high school coaches know what we're talking about when we say tendos. Is everybody familiar with those at all? Okay. If not, we'll just talk with the presentation here. Okay, and you see a lot of things in there. I don't know if you can see it on your program, but you see a lot of things in there as far as injury prevention, the Blackburn series, the scap circuits, rotator cuffs, and a lot of shoulder care. A ton of shoulder care and hip mobility in there. Hip mobility to me is, when it comes to helping create athletic movement, hip mobility to me is the number one thing. Range of motion and being able to move freely in space with your hips is huge. If your hips are tight, your back is tight. Your back is tight, your hamstrings are tight. All that's tight, you got a hurt athlete. So there's some things in the program that look real delicate when they're doing them. Guys will be like, this is all we got today? Well, we're trying to increase or improve your range of motion in your hips. So again, like I said before, that's why the warm-up is so huge. Because that's where you really help make your athletes athletes. I mean, running fast and doing all these things in your actual training, that's great. But during the warm-up, that's when, if they're doing high knees or A skips and you're coaching them up, yeah, you're coaching up the dorsiflex of the ankle and all that stuff. You're coaching up the motion, the drill and the motion, but at the same time, keep an eye on the hips. That's what I'm influenced the whole time. Okay, so you see the tendo's made a big appearance in the whole template now. So everything is pretty much tendo now. So after the bench that day where he's hitting 0.7, now you've got the next day he's going shrugs and he's going tendo speed of it looks like 2, but it's on peak. Again, so he's got 3s right now. He's got 5 sets of 3s and he's trying to get it to 2 meters per second. Okay, then you got chin-ups. Again, we're hitting the posterior and all that stuff. Then the next day, the third day, you got cleans. Here's the tendo again. And we really made the adjustment on the tendo speeds. Some schools go 7, some schools go 8. If you're hitting above 5, I'm not going to tell you, but I'm okay with that on our guys. If they're hitting above 5, I'm okay with that. It's not 7 and then I add weight. I might add weight to a guy just because he's a little different. He might not be a fast twitch guy or like one of the other guys. He might be a little slower. So if he's hitting 5 and he's doing it full effort, I might go ahead and graduate him. Okay, then you got back squat in there too. So now we're getting into, really it's the realization phase now. Because there's actually, you start from your base phase, then you go to your developmental phase, and then after your peak phase, the peak phase to me, you're really peaking them just so they can max for you. So again, like I said, this is for me. Peak phase for me is really just so they can max. After I've maxed them, I got to get into the realization phase because they got to play. So thank you for giving me the max numbers. And as an athlete, that's really huge to them. They're fired up and that's great. But now that's where the tendos make that appearance where now I need you to hit this speed. Now we're talking about making sure you're following through on all the little things, the details of all the exercises. Okay? Okay, we talked about this. Okay, first 3 weeks, coach led. I got him for the first 3 weeks. After those first 3 weeks, it goes from coach to athlete. So I'll go ahead and grab a couple of guys and say, this is what we got. Take a look at this. This is what we got. This is what we got outside. You got it. Any questions? Now what I'm doing with that athlete is I'm talking directly to the captain or to the guy that I gave the template to. So when they're outside, okay, guys, we got this. The starting quarterback, the middle linebacker, the starting D tackle, center. This is what we got. And he's calling the shots for his group. So we got our assistants with their groups. So outside, you'll hear a lot of programs say they got stages in the weight room. Well, we got stages outside too. So outside, instead of going stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4, stage 5, like you would do in the weight room, you got white, green, gold, and black. So your white groups led by the white captain, black group, those guys are, give an example, guys that already run the 4-3 guys. Fast twitch out this world, explosive. Okay, might lack a little endurance. Okay, well, we're going ahead and working with those guys on some of those things. You got your range of motion guys. You got your athletic quality guys, whatever it is. Guys that are strong but just don't move anything fast. They're really strong but they don't move anything fast. That's great to go ahead and divide them in the weight room, but what are you doing outside for that too? So now they're in they're doing a little bit more focused in on plyos. Okay? And each coach has got that station. And it's not broken up as soon as we warm up. It's right when they go outside, they go to that coach. And you're working on those qualities. And then so when we're going to finish, we all come back and we all do the finisher. Because if you think about it now, in the weight room you do that, but outside, because there's only 1 or 2 of you guys, you're taking care of everything. Everybody's doing the same thing. Okay, week 6 through 8 is athlete led. Week 6 through 8 is athlete led. Now I just come in there and I give the guy the template and I walk off. Okay, like we talked about again, here it is, injury prevention again, performance enhancement, and mental development again. Okay, acknowledgments, of course, man, I gotta thank my staff because one of the things that I learned is who's really grading your product. And if you get anything from the presentation, just get this. Who's grading your product? A lot of times we grade our own product. Like we'll put the template together or we'll sit in the room and it's 8 of us, 10 of us, and we're saying, hey, that was a great summer. Well, we're all performance coaches. We're saying it's a great summer. If you don't understand, let me say, okay, if I'm selling ice cream and I made the ice cream, then how am I saying the ice cream tastes great? You understand what I'm saying? If I'm the ice cream vendor, I'm selling ice cream and I'm eating the ice cream, I made the ice cream, and then I got other customers and people eating the ice cream, but the reason I'm saying it's good is because I said it's good, I ate it. So who's grading your product? So what we do then is we call a couple of the captains in after the conclusion of the summer, and we talk about ways and things that we can get better. Guys that you know, they're a little bit more mature than everything else, words that you can trust. Okay, not just any old guy. Okay, so we go ahead and we try to find out where we hit things well and where we need to improve and all that stuff, and really grade our product hard. And what we do with that is, you might have a guy that said that this summer was terrible or it was great. We get rid of the extremes. So if you've got an extreme report, it was great, I take that out. It was terrible, I take that out. And then I grade the middle. Then we talk about that. Okay. My staff, Pat Ivey and his staff, it was where I got my GA, great friend of mine. Don Summers at TCU, a great mentor to me. And of course, Mac, Al Vermeil, Coach Vermeil's brother. And I got a special thanks on here to Coach Browse. Talk about having a great boss. He doesn't fool with anything that I do. And that's one of the reasons I get to do whatever I want to do. He doesn't fool with anything I do. I bring into him the numbers, and I bring in him everything that was going on and all that. All he wants are the results. And my whole philosophy is to give him great athletes that he can then make great football players. I don't give him great football players because now I'm missing a step. And that's to go ahead and give him an athlete that then he can work with. If I can give you somebody that can drop their hips and keep their chest up and has got great flexibility and range of motion and is durable, strong, powerful, and explosive, your job as a football coach then is to make them a football player. Because I'm not going to put that in my program. So some coaches do, but I don't. I'm not going to start acting like a position coach.